Okay, hello. Today's review is of Victoria Johansson photography. Now, as far as I know, she's not related to Scarlett, but like the Black Widow in the Avengers, apparently she's from Russia. So, Victoria is really just up the I-5 from the Flaunt Your Site San Diego World Headquarters. She's in Orange County, and she focuses on wedding and lifestyle photography. So Victoria just moved to WordPress, and there's much rejoicing there. Woohoo! All right, and she's working on her online presence. So let's see if we can rip it apart and have some fun doing so. All right, so the home page here is, while the site is clean and simple, I think it's a bit too clean and simple. Orange County is a very competitive market, and not only do your photographs need to stand out, but so does your website. I think a logo, a menu, and a slideshow might seem like a really nice, simple design, but your website is about selling you and competing with everyone else in your area. Now, when I scroll down, I notice there's a little bit of a text, but it seems like it was written for search engines, especially with this bolded text here and with the link, right, back to the same page that you're on. I actually encourage people to have text on their homepage, but as a way to connect and have your visitors figure out if this is the website that's going to solve your problems. But this text isn't really doing that. It's really just pandering to the search, right? So adding a photo of yourself will help, but your text should speak to the website viewer, to your potential customer. What kind of things did you want to hear when you were getting married? This is a really good place to do that. I'm also not a fan of how the theme you're using keeps this area below the fold and forces you to scroll to see it. So if I minimize the window here, it still forces me to have to scroll down to see that actual text that you have down there. So I'm not a fan of that on that particular theme. Because the website's main purpose for a small business like yours is to sell your product, and your photographs are not your product. You are. So you need to bring yourself forward as much as possible, of course, without being annoying, of course. All right, SEO wise, you'll want to use the Yoast SEO plugin, the WordPress SEO plugin, and get your site set up properly. Now, shameless plug, I have a whole video series on that shows you how to do that and set up your whole site for more search traffic. All right, shameless plug over. Now, your title tag is this guy right up here, and it's the up here in the tab. Now, right now it just says Home in Orange County Wedding Photographer, and it's like that on every page and post right now. So if I go to Portfolio, it's going to say Portfolio / Orange County Wedding Photographer. Let's see how it says that up there. All right, this is very important SEO wise. So let's just get back to the home page here. But you have to know that only one page on your website is really going to rank for the term Orange County Wedding Photographer, but you have it spread out on all of them. So you really need to choose the best page for it and only use it there. I would also go into your WordPress settings and change this where it says Orange County Wedding Photographer. I would actually change that to Victoria Johansson Photography, because that's your business name. Then make sure you use the Yoast WordPress SEO plugin and make the necessary changes on each on each of the pages. Then you can have it say something like, on whichever page that you want, you can actually have it say Orange County Wedding Photographer / Victoria Johansson Photography, and that way it's a little bit more consistent with your branding, with your business name, and you're pushing the keywords where they need to go rather than having them be everywhere. So site structure, the menu is kind of laid out like every other photographer. And the way photographers organize their information really bears no resemblance to what brides need, which leads brides to have to go on goose chases for the info that they're really looking for. you need to think, have you really thought about the thought process of a bride looking for information on a photographer? What do they want to know first? So first, let's tell them what you do, right? Let's assume they haven't scrolled down to read your little blurb down here. You want to tell them right away what kind of photography you shoot. You can do so easily in the menu. This is the best, easiest way to do it. By having weddings, engagements, lifestyle, and anything else you shoot up here in the menu, the visitor can go right where they want to and not have to dig around for it in like the FAQs or pricing, etc. Right? You may think that it's very obvious with the photos and all that, but you need to think of being able to have a 5-year-old use your site. So if you have pages like weddings, engagements, lifestyle up in here, those are what I call service pages because they talk about the services that you offer. These are where your information that the brides are looking for, that'll be all there. You can even embed your portfolio slideshows there. You can talk about your rates, where you photograph, the venues, why you love photographing weddings, etc., or engagements or lifestyle shoots. Coincidentally, since these pages have so much content, they're also the ones that tend to rank well in the search engines. But they do so because they're useful to your potential customers, not because they have a bunch of keywords stuffed in them. All right, so let's take a look at your blog. So first, I tend not to give people a bunch of options on a site when the primary intent is to get them to contact you. I'm also not a fan of drop-down menus. So I really just say let people go straight to the blog. Don't worry about giving them the option to read certain categories. I think people tend to do this because they saw it on someone else's photography website. They thought it was cool, but they didn't think about how it affects the purpose of the website in the first place. I think every pixel on a website should be thought out. Remember, this is your main sales and marketing tool. All right, on the blog post, reading through your first blog post here, it seems really commercially. It's like a commercial for something. There's nothing wrong with writing that way, but you really want to find your own voice and not have your posts be about writing for Google. Blogs are really great. Blog posts are really great because they allow you to connect with an audience. So write for them first, and you got to stop bolding keywords. It's weird. It's an SEO tactic from like 10 years ago, but it's weird for human beings. So this Malibu wedding, you bolded that, but that's not it's not something we do anymore these days. Think about why you'd want to take the time to read this and look at the photos. Then write that. That's what you should be writing. Also, looking at your alt tags, I just, earlier I took a look at this. Your alt tags here. Let's see here. So your alt tags, you also are essentially just taking the file name and using the file name as your alt tag. I would not do that anymore because you're keyword stuffing. You're just taking the keywords in here and putting them in your alt tag. So don't do that. Alt tags should be unique and descriptive for each photo. And if you have to use less photos, then maybe that's the case. I'm not a fan of putting 80 images on a blog post. Granted, you have probably 40 or so here. So if you have to use less photos, then maybe that's something that you do. But Google isn't rewarding you for stuffing those keywords behind the scenes. in the alt tag area, I can guarantee that. I think photographers just need to stop using alt tags as a crutch for keywords. All right, so down at the bottom here, you do have a call to action. It's this little tiny little thing right here. It's good to be thinking about having calls to action at the end of the page or the blog post. But again, you're pandering to Google here with this Malibu wedding photographer. Look, I really suggest you figure out who you are as a photographer, and figure out your branding. So if you had something like, if you're looking for a better photographer than Scarlett Johansson, call me. I'm the better Johansson, or whatever that is, right? Whatever, you have to figure out what sets you apart from other photographers, what makes you stand out, what's your unique selling proposition, your brand, what makes you different. Do that, and people will start to share about you, and Google will reward you with rankings. That's how Jasmine Star did it. It wasn't all about keyword stuffing every single blog post that she had, right? All right, now, as far as the call to actions, make them huge. No BS. PS. Make them huge. You want the call to action to be the first thing that they see after they go through the blog post, right? So when they get done reading, you got this big boom, call me, whatever that is, right? One other thing, Facebook comments versus WordPress comments. I'd use one. It doesn't look, I don't know what your other blog posts are like, but this is, no one's using it. So if that's the case, then don't use them. Okay, so let's head over to the About page. All right, again, you're bolding and you're bolding text and linking from a keyword anchor text. Like I said, this is all old, outdated SEO stuff. You can't do that now. You have to think about people, not search engines. You're also just from a standpoint of writing this, you're not an Orange County wedding photographer. You just happen to do wedding photography. If you're going to ask, a question like this, now on to the real question at hand, who am I? Connect with people that are going to hire you. Saying you're a photographer, you're just a wedding photographer is so surfacey. This is an opportunity for you here to get real and have people connect with you. Talk about why you love wedding photography. The why is so much more important, right? Talk about, I don't know, how when you were a little girl and you were looking at the pictures from your parents' wedding one rainy day, you could see the love that was captured in the images. It was so palpable. And then suddenly the sun burst through the clouds and it lit up everything, and you had this glorious revelation that you wanted to bring that joy and people's lives until the day you died. Okay, so yes, I do have a flair for the dramatic, but someone reading a story about the why you became a photographer will connect with you way more than just saying you are one. I'd rewrite this as a narrative. And this whole, I am me thing, I get rid of that. That's just kind of silly. Take the page seriously. Unless your brand is to be silly, and then make it really, really silly. But this is your product. You're selling you, right? You are the product here. And use a great photo where you're not hiding behind the camera. Use the photo that you have here, but as a secondary or tertiary photo down the way here a bit. Use a photograph of you looking right into the lens so people connect with you. That's so important. People need to get intimate with you. This is the very beginning of that process. Also, in here you have another keyword in the alt text, and it's keyword stuffing. I think it just says Orange County wedding photographer. Yeah, here we go. your alt text Orange County wedding photographer. Stop doing that. Don't stuff keywords. Your alt text should be descriptive of the photograph that you have there. Okay, one thing I noticed in here also is, just because it was kind of threw me off, you said that you only knew one Russian swear word, but you hadn't yet established that you were from Russia or that you spoke Russian. So that kind of threw me off. I would, when you rewrite this, I would make sure that you establish that before you, say that. That is kind of funny though. All right, and then FAQ. All right, so on the FAQs, my suggestion here is to take all this information that you have and bring that into those services pages that I talked about for the weddings, engagements, lifestyle. If this is frequently asked information, it should be front and center on your service pages, so they don't need an FAQ, so that they don't have to ask, right? All right, let's go over here to pricing and contact. All right, so here, the pricing information. So first off, these should be two separate pages. In fact, the rates information should be on those services pages that I talked about, just to make things easier on your potential clients. So when they come to your site, it's all there. All right, now as far as pricing, there is no clarity at all in here. Potential brides aren't going to stick around on your site and try to figure out what you're trying to say. You need to be so clear that, like I said before, a 5-year-old can figure out what you charge here. So it should be simple. Package 1, $1,900. You get 5 hours. Oops. You get this, and that, and then package 2, boom, $2,900 or whatever it is, and you get 8 hours, and you get this, that, and 2 other things, right? So if you're going to display your rates on here, make it easy. What you have now is really confusing, and they probably think you're charging, at $1,900 for a half day. Maybe you're charging $3,800 for a full day, or does she even do full day weddings? You're having to bring up too many questions that the bride is having without providing them answers, and that's your job, is to give them answers. Again, use a 5-year-old or your grandma to figure out if it's easy enough to convey that information. So this is all good. The date of event, I don't know, what if you don't have an event? There are plugins that and contact forms that'll let you say, is it a wedding? And then it'll drop down some more information. That's a possible solution for you to look at. At least you don't have it required, which is nice. Okay, so when I filled this out, I ended up on this page, which it was a confirmation, which is nice, but I like to have a thank you page that suggests they go like your Facebook business page or read some more blog posts, etc. The confirmation is nice again, but adding a thank you page that is really personalized is really nice to do. And I don't know if you could do that with this particular contact form, but there are contact forms that will let you specify a thank you page or a page to land after you fill out the form. Okay, so I know you got kind of beat up here on this review, but if you really take on doing these things, you will stand out, and you won't need to resort to pandering to Google with those outdated strategies. Just think about what sets you apart from everyone else. Maybe it is that you speak 5 languages, and you can design your site around that maybe. Flickr would always tell you hello in a different language when you logged in, and that was one of those cool little touches that made them unique. So maybe it's that, maybe it's something else, but find out what it is for you and design your site around that and set your site up around that. And you will get more and more people coming to your site. All right? All right. Thanks, Victoria.